It's a hold down, what you know now. Breaking you round town, girl, let's calm down. That's where your knees, they belong. Cause I'm a king up on my throne. If you give me my knees will be grown. Exponentially, dog, with the flow. I keep it moving like the waves in the seas. Still doing this shit, nothing but breeze. I surround myself with a few breezes to give me ease. I do it how I do. Just make sure you eat your stew mixed with the peas.
We're recording.
Yeah, it's recording.
Like, why are you doing wifey duties when you shouldn't? When you're nothing?
Okay, so then the question is,
should a woman perform wifey duties to someone that's not her boyfriend?
there's husband, fiance, because you're not married yet. Serious boyfriend, long term, dating, boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, the dating.
Talking, trying to see if y'all want to take this to the next level of being, exclusive or whatever the fuck that agreement is. And then there's just like, oh, I just met this dude, I'm hanging out. So which one of those levels are we talking about? Obviously not the husband, because she's married, she's a wife. So are we saying just dating, or are we saying like just talking, kicking it, hanging out? Should a woman perform wifely duties for that guy?
For that guy, yeah.
Okay, so next question would be, what are wifely duties? You said cooking. Okay, what else?
I mean, I guess it comes along with, the sex.
Cooking, sex, okay. Like giving him sex, or are we saying like regular sex? Like you're not denying him sex? Because that matters. You're just saying, we had sex one time versus every time we see each other we're fucking.
Regular sex.
What's the expectation, right? Like, is he just hoping he can get the box, or is it like it's implied that like you coming through, we already know what time it is, why are we bullshitting? So but that's also a wifely duty, because we know a lot of marriages that are sexless. I mean, because the point you're making is that the regular sex is expected, right? Because if we're saying we're not even exclusive boyfriend and girlfriend titles, all of that stuff, and you're still cooking for me, you're giving me regular sex, well then don't you think if I'm a husband at that point, I would obviously expect that same level of regular sex, right? Like what changes between those levels? Because the levels we outlined is husband at the top, fiance, long-term serious boyfriend, dating, boyfriend and girlfriend, talking to see if we want to be in a relationship, and then we're just hanging out having fun, right? So there's a bunch of tiers to this conversation. We decided that we're saying we're just having fun in this scenario, kicking it, hanging out. You're cooking, giving regular sex. What other wifely duty? Like cleaning? Would you clean his place for him? Like pick up after shit?
Pick up after.
Okay, so but you would, so let's say you just were at the house, right? So he was coming back from work or something, and you happen to get to his house, he let you in, or you had access or what have you, and he'll be home in an hour. Would you clean up the house if you saw it necessary, or you're like, he ain't my man, I ain't cleaning this shit?
Yeah, I've done it.
Which one?
Yeah, clean up.
Oh, so you have cleaned up his place before?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have issues doing those things, or what's your position on that?
I have no issue with it.
You have no issue. Okay, so what if he comes home one day, you've now established a rhythm, you cook for him, you may not cook for him all the time, he may cook sometimes or whatever, but you're coming to his place and you cook for him at his place, you've done that multiple times, you've cleaned up after him multiple times, or tidied the house or the living room, whatever, and let's say he's doing some work on the computer and you're just cleaning up his spot, and then of course you're giving him regular sex. So you've established all of these norms. I think the problem is when people start deviating from the norms they've already established, regardless of whatever level of relationship they're at.
So does that make sense? You're already doing something and then you're just pulling away.
You start switching up for no reason, or obviously there's a reason, but maybe he's not aware of the reason you're switching up on him. Or, you know what? I think a lot of women preemptively switch up.
To get a reaction from.
Yeah. Like they play that game. They'll be upset that dudes play games with them, but then they'll play little slick shit like with a guy who's already been welcomed into her space. Like they've already established that they hang out, they've been having sex, they've cooked for each other, cleaned for whatever, they've done all of that. But that same woman will then turn around and try to make a game out of it because either she gets bored or she wants to stir up conflict, because women like drama. Let's just give it real. Like if a guy is too predictable, he's got a routine, he's got his thing going, you know what to expect from him. A lot of women, they don't like that. They lose attraction for that. But then they go get with the guy who they don't know if left is right and up is down, and that's exciting. But then they get burnt out from that too, because they're like, this isn't going anywhere. There's no structure to this relationship. We're just kind of flinging around, and you know what I mean? And so they want a happy balance of both. They need the structure, but they also need a little bit of chaos every once in a while to keep them lively. And it's the unfortunate truth.
And it's like chaos that they are creating.
It's like self-induced chaos where it's not necessary. That's the big thing.
And that's where the communication fails.
That's where the communication fails, because men are very logic based. They're very routine based for the most part. We're talking about if we're taking a man and a woman where, you know, both of these individuals are quality individuals, right? Like a woman being a quality woman isn't necessarily what a man being a quality man is. Those are two different things. But if we're assuming, for the sake of argument, the man has established himself to be a quality guy, well, he's thinking logic. You know, he's using his logic, he's using his routine, he's disciplined, he's got things to do. And so from the outside looking in, that could be attractive to a woman. Like, oh, I like that guy, he's got his shit together. But then you get on the inside with that guy and you see what it takes for him to become that. And that's too many monotonous details that women aren't interested in. They just want to wait for you to perform when it's come time to perform, but they don't want to be with you when you're in the gym. There's a whole saying about that. Like, oh, you wasn't with me when I was shooting in the gym. So it's like, oh, you just want to come when it's courtside seats to watch me perform. But
you don't want to build together. You don't want to build.
You don't want to build. They don't want to build. Nah, they just want to wait at the finish line. You know, they don't want to go through the process of what it takes to become successful together. They just want to get a guy who's already ready made to be successful and then latch on to that guy. That's why I use the analogy of women don't really have a philosophy they come into the relationship with. The philosophy is dependent on who they're with. So you may have dated a guy who is, in a biker gang or some shit, and then you date a doctor. These dudes have two different philosophies in a relationship, and you've been with both of them, you know, hypothetically. So you're just gonna mold your opinion to whatever, you know, the Rolling Stone guy is thinking. And then when you get with the doctor, now you're gonna straighten your shit up and probably be more proper. And yeah, I'm just taking stereotypical. Yeah. You know, so a lot of women don't have their own philosophy that they bring into the relationship. They just pick a guy and then latch on to his philosophy. So a lot of women want a certain outcome, but they don't understand what it takes to achieve that outcome, from the nuances and the details that don't really get highlighted on TikTok. You know what I mean? You just see the outcome. You don't see the grinding, all the editing of those videos, all the trying to get material to create, and the atmosphere, the setup, the lighting, the camera work, the microphone. You don't see all of that. You just see people doing fun shit on computer, and you want to do that, or you want to be a part of that lifestyle, but you don't see what it takes to produce the outcomes that you see only in the highlights. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know what our conversation, I don't know what the initial question was, but you said it comes down to communication or stirring up the conflict to just keep things entertaining. But a lot of times it is self-induced conflict. Why do you think women are so self-sabotaging of a good thing when they have it?
They're so used to of the bad thing. I mean, they're so used to them being in control. Also, I mean, I guess it's depending on the man or the husband, the man they're dating. But it's like they're so used to being in control of the situation.
Every situation, you said?
Mm-hmm. And when they come into a good situation or a good scenario, a good person they meet, or a good man, or a man that knows what, has his shit together, it's like automatic glitch to them. Like they want to induce the
chaos. So if I understand, you're saying women are so used to failure that they'll revert back to what they know if they were put in a successful situation. So they know how to identify guys who don't qualify for them in their mind. They have a history and a track record of dealing with those dudes. Ask any girl, she could tell you about trash dudes in her past, right? In her mind, these guys were garbage. But then I'll ask them, I say, okay, well, what about the guys that do qualify? So if we can agree, I guess first we would have to ask the question, do you feel that there are men who do qualify for what you expect? There are men who meet the requirements of what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we say that there are men out there that do exist and have those qualities, what is your track record in being with those type of men? Or have you been with those kind of men that meet, you know, where you weren't necessarily in the power position or dictating position of, you know, how this is gonna go? You were with a guy who already had enough options and it was a quality enough where you know he could replace you far easier than you can replace him. Because that's really what it comes down to. The only reason a woman really acts out of character is because in her mind she believes that that guy can be replaced. Because if she knows this is the last piece of bread I'm getting for 2 weeks, she's not gonna throw that bread in the trash. But if she thinks there's a Wonder Bread truck backing up in 10 seconds, she gonna be like, this is kind of stale. Let me see what else is coming in. Let me see. Oh, do they got croissants up in here? Oh shit. Oh, nah, you just got the little plain government white bread. You know what I mean? And that's the only slice you gonna get for the next week. She gonna treat that government slice of bread like that's the motherfucking shit, you know? So it's about who can replace one another faster. It sucks to think that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. What do you think? What do you think?
What do you think about what?
About the whole concept of like, it's really about who can replace who faster.
Oh, it sounds horrible when it's like said that way.
But is it completely false though? Like, is it not accurate?
No, it's not. It's not false.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the way of getting there, like how accurate or what makes it accurate.
Because that's the way the dating market is. I mean, and of course, obviously, for those of you listening, I'm speaking to a female, so she's gonna have her entire experience and perspective, and that's the whole point of having these conversations, is because a lot of women don't understand the other side of it, whereas they never really put themselves in the man's position. A man, for the most part, if he's got any knowledge about women, he's had to put himself in their shoes, because that's essentially what having game is. Being aware of the environment, the setting, the context, all of that. you don't go up to a girl while she's sobbing at a funeral and be like, yo, you looking kind of thick though. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just mourned her family member. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta have certain game to where we're like, okay,
those men exist. Hey, I have to say that.
Funerals, hey, sometimes they be getting it in at funerals. Shit.
You meet your husband.
You know what I mean? You be seeing a whole bunch of folks you ain't never met before. Like, who are you? Oh, I'm so-and-so's second cousin or whatever. You be like, second cousin? Like,
so it means, you know,
not first cousin, right? You said second cousin? So, you know, we have to figure out the game. We have to understand where the woman is coming from. If we're at the club, we got to understand, like, all right, who she with? We're scoping out, like, who's her homegirl? Like, which one is going to be the barrier, you know, the bouncer, the fucking guardian to get into this girl? Like, you know, is it which one's the bitchy friend? Like, that I gotta kind of schmooze over a little bit. Like, we have to figure all of these things out. Women don't have to figure that out.
It's kind of like you're out there trying to see which cow you're going to
milk. Which cow you're gonna milk? Wait, fuck? We talking about fucking cows? Which cow I'm gonna take home? I'm trying to see which one of you cows. Yeah, don't ever say that, dude. Fellas, don't walk up to a group of girls and be like, which one of you cows am I taking home? Something tell me that's not going to end well for you, you know? But yeah, I mean, I never thought about a cow analogy, but yeah, I mean, essentially you're trying to scope out. It's like a lion and a gazelle, right? The lion goes to graze and he's looking across the pride lands or whatever. There's a bunch of gazelles. He's hungry. He's not gonna eat all the gazelles, but he's looking for that one that's gonna be that easy snack and go ahead and get it.
In Spanish, like I don't know what the word is in English, but it's el más mansito.
Mansito.
So mansito is, I don't say necessarily it's like the weak one.
Yeah.
But the weak
the vulnerable one.
Yeah.
Like the one that's the path of least resistance, which I've said that, you know, men typically will take that. Like, I might see a group of 5 girls and there's one that I'm physically attracted to more than any of the other 4. But I might go to one of the other 4 just because I feel like she'll be less of a headache. She'll be more receptive to me approaching her versus, you know, the dime piece, for example. She's so used to dudes throwing random lines at her all day and all that. She gets jaded. So a lot of times they have this invisible, like, fuck off written on their forehead and they don't even realize it. You know, it's the pretty privilege thing. A lot of women are so used to men just throwing themselves at her that the guy that she wants to throw himself at her is not doing that because he's looking like she don't look like she want to be bothered. But her homegirl, who's not as cute, maybe 2 points less or whatever, but like I feel like she'll have more of a welcoming energy, which is really what men want. We don't need Cindy Crawford and Tyra Banks, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just want cute. We want you to be cute, but like cool. Like, we want to be easy to talk to. You know, the path of least resistance. A lot of women who are lesser than their hotter friend have gotten the hotter guy because they were just cooler to be with. A lot of hot women don't develop the personality to be able to do certain things because they've never had to. Right? You don't know how easy it is for you to walk until I cut your leg off. Now you're like, shit, I used to do this. Damn, I was doing this every day. Now I can't do it no more. It's like, yeah, you forgot how hard that was, right? Because you're not an infant anymore. You've been walking damn near your entire life. Now you stub your toe or you break your foot. Now you're in crutches. You're like, shit, I don't even know how to walk right now. It's a rude awakening for a lot of women because the hotter you are, the more options get thrown at you earlier in life. So it's the whole Wonder Bread truck. You think there's always going to be another slice of bread.
The Wonder Bread truck.
You know what I mean? Like, you think there's always somebody backing a dump truck full of bread for you. But that wears off. Just like bread, eventually that shit gets stale and you don't get them same opportunities that you did when you were at your peak. But they, in their minds, it's always, there's like a saying in sports, right? Like, father time is undefeated. So no matter what level of athlete you are, eventually your prime is going to surpass you, and physically you won't be able to keep up with the demand of that sport at the level you were able to when you were at the prime years of that sport, performance wise. We know with most sports generally, it's like your late 20s is like your prime, you know what I mean? So late 20s, early 30s, but once you start pushing late 30s, 40, like physically you can't keep up with that same pace and demand, and there's always a new guy turning 25 every day. So it's just father time, you know what I mean? And women don't think that father time applies to them a lot because of how many slices of bread have been thrown to them. They think that truck never stops. Sponsored by Wonder Bread. Sponsored by Government Toast. And then they don't realize that eventually those opportunities, they go away, or they're just fewer and far between. And now these same women, right? You can go online right now and see these same women. You're like, oh, obviously I could tell she was a baddie. She was a baddie back in the day. But they don't realize that until it's too late. Like, everybody else can tell when the athlete is not in his prime anymore. Like, oh, he's still trying to do the same moves that he did when he was 28. This guy's 36 now. Like, you can't do them same moves. You could do a form of them same move, but they're not as jumping out the gym. They're not as athletic as they used to be 8-10 years ago, right? But in his mind, he's still that guy. So it takes the rest of his team to be like, bruh, you can't, you gotta pass the ball now. Like, you can't do that no more, you know? So it's the same in the market with women. Is a lot of them, they don't see that until it's too late, and the dudes have to kind of like remind them by not reminding them, because we speak with our actions, and lack thereof is an action, right? Not calling her back is an action. Not wanting to speak to her or see her anymore, that's an action. But women don't think that, because their first thought is not to look inward. It's always to look outside of themselves. Oh, it's just because, the ref is calling bad calls today. It's like, bro, no, you just can't do the same moves you could do anymore. You can't blame the ref because he ain't giving you them calls.
It's you.
You're not as effective as you used to be. Everybody else can see it, and then the bottom line is your team keeps losing. It's like, y'all not winning no more because you can't perform the way you did when y'all was winning. It's nothing else. It's not that deep. A lot of women make it, why are men, bro? They ask all these whys, and it's like, bro, it's because you're not as hot as you used to be. That's why. It's because you're old now in the dating market for marriage. Right?
Yeah.
Once a woman hits 30, most men,
the value has dropped.
Would agree. They'd be like, yo, she 30 now? Like, I'd love to have seen her when she was 23. Like, I'd like to know what that version was like. If she's this fine at 35, damn, imagine when she was 25. There's a lot of women right now on TikTok. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Still good looking. But that's all they are, is just good looking. They don't got no results for that. Their team is still losing. And it's like, yeah, you're jacking up a bunch of shots and getting points, but your team's losing. So perhaps you might want to re-strategize this playbook, because you're not winning right now. So you can blame the coach, you can blame your teammates, you can blame the ref, you can blame the stadium, the audience, or you can look at yourself and say, am I performing to the same level that I used to? Am I as valuable to this team as I think I am? More times than not, it's no. It's no. But we don't have the heart to communicate this to a lot of you, because it's like a foreign language to y'all. To tell a hot girl, hey, you're not as hot as you used to be. She gonna be like, oh, you're a hater. Oh, you're bashing me. Or trying to be the one guy who's going to tell you some truth to help you get some better outcomes, because based on your results, it don't look like you're getting what you want out of life or out of the opposite sex. So I would bring it back to the initial question, was wifely duties for somebody who's who's not your husband, not even your boyfriend in this case. This is a guy you're hanging out with. And would you think that most women share that same view as you? Like, oh yeah, I think cooking, cleaning, regular sex is expected if I'm dealing with you in any capacity whatsoever.
What do you mean if women have expected?
So you said that you don't mind doing those things. Mm-hmm. Do you think most women don't mind doing those things, or they have an issue with that?
I think most women would mind.
Would mind? Like they'd have a problem with doing that?
Most women that I know
would have an issue
doing those things.
Cooking, cleaning, regular sex for a guy that's just talking or hanging out.
It's like the first comment to it would be like, I don't even do it for myself. Like, why should I do it for somebody else?
They don't even do what for themselves?
Like, they don't even cook or...
I think that's a bigger issue, though. I mean, I don't think that's... So, let's assume that the women who do cook, right? So, they cook for themselves regularly. They clean for themselves regularly. And they get with a guy and they don't have an official title with this guy, but they still cook and clean for him regularly, and then of course give him regular sex. You're saying most women would have an issue with giving that to a guy that hasn't tied it down with them? Yeah. Why do you think?
Because I mean, maybe because they're expecting more from it, and I feel like for the personal, I don't know if that's gonna really answer the question, but I think for like a personal experience, it's not doing it because I feel like I have to. It's because I want to, and because I see the other person enjoys it, or why not? I mean, I don't know. I can't really speak on the others.
Okay, so you said you do it because you want to do it. But what if you didn't want to do it one day? Does that mean you don't do it then?
No, I would still do it. I mean, if it's something that I've been doing, why would I stop?
Because you don't want to do it. You just don't feel like it that day.
I mean, I would probably communicate, like, you know what, I don't feel like cooking.
You would probably communicate that.
Yeah.
So that means you probably...
I mean, I love cooking, first of all, so I don't think that would ever be an issue.
You probably would tell him if you decided that, hey, I've done it 5 times already. I just don't feel like doing it right now. You would tell him that.
Yeah. Or not necessarily I won't do it. I probably communicate it in a different way.
Like how?
I would say, can you cook today? Instead of saying I don't feel like doing it today. Or maybe I would. I mean, it just depends on the day.
Right.
I don't think I've ever had that happen.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Like, this is a topic that's discussed a lot, is a man's is expected to perform his end of the duties. So let's take it to, let's say, girlfriend and boyfriend, right? You don't have to be married or engaged or anything. Let's just say you guys are dating, your boyfriend, girlfriend. What do you expect a man who's your boyfriend, what do you expect from him to do as far as his duties in the relationship? What do you expect?
The same duties he would be doing as a husband, which is protector, provider. I mean, nothing different. I mean, what is your question? Like,
okay, so you get a guy and you are dating. He says, I want you to be my girlfriend. So now you're boyfriend and girlfriend. What do you expect from him? You said a couple things. You said protection, provision, I think you said.
No,
like providing.
provider.
Yeah, provision. Providing what?
Providing monetary.
So giving you money?
No, not giving money.
Paying for your bills?
Not necessarily.
So then how? Because if this is your boyfriend, we're assuming you guys don't live together at this point, right? So you've got your own life you've been taking care of before you even met him. Now you've met him. Now y'all are boyfriend and girlfriend. You expect him to contribute monetarily. In what way?
I mean, I don't expect it's not like an 100% situation, but like if he wants to, I'm not stopping him either.
So it's totally dependent on what he feels and what he wants to do. And if he doesn't want to do it, then you don't have a problem either way?
No, I don't.
But you just said you expect him to do certain things. One of them you said monetary. Providing. That's what you said.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't mean like I expect it. Like it's a you must do it.
That's the question though, is what do you expect him to do? It's a hot topic right now.
Sorry, guys.
So if he doesn't do X, Y, and Z, you're dumping him.
Dumping him. Just kidding. No. Stuck there.
You don't know.
No, I got.
Oh wait, let's ask. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Let me ask this question real quick. I forgot to ask. Have you ever had a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So she's had a boyfriend before. Okay, so then go back in your history. What did you expect from him?
To be the man. I mean, I don't say there's anything wrong with being emotional. It'll probably be less emotional.
Okay, so you expect him to be less emotional.
I wanted to be the woman and him the man, basically. I felt like I was being a mom.
Oh, you're talking about with your ex?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So you said he was more emotional than you?
Yes.
Like he was crying all the time or what?
Yes.
Damn, she's just like, yes. Okay, so that turns you off. Okay, but that's that's kind of like what you hope not to happen, or that's what you would expect not to happen.
I didn't know that I was going into, I mean, that's not what I got from the pre-dating, I guess.
So I guess in other words, what I'm trying to understand is you guys go out. Do you expect him to pay for the dinner?
I don't know why, but like the word expect him to pay just seems like, I don't know.
Okay, so
bratty to me it's bratty.
You said bratty?
Yeah, I don't like that. I feel
like I expect him to buy me dinner.
I feel like saying that sounds like I sound what you just said.
But then maybe dinner is not one that you expect though. But you expect something. So if you get with a guy and he just don't do nothing, you're like, hey, what you doing? I'm just here at home. You're like, all right, cool.
It's like goodbye.
Like he never wants to do anything with you. He doesn't. What would you expect him to do for you to feel like, okay, we're in this relationship together?
Plan something. I don't know. Be a plan.
Plan an outing. So if he never plans an outing,
in control, basically.
Control of what?
Of everything.
Everything? Because that's a Pandora box you open in there. If you want your man to be in control of everything, do you want him to be in control of what you wear?
You can have an opinion and tell me, yeah.
Would you listen to it though? Don't wear that. That's no, I don't like that. Don't wear that.
I would want to know why I wouldn't want to wear it, and then I'm like, okay, I understand.
Because I don't like it.
They gave me a better option.
Fair enough. Okay, so
like give me a reason why, and then I'm like, okay, then.
So how many times does he have to? So anytime he does something or he makes a decision that you want more information as to why he's making that decision, you expect him to explain it to you every time.
No, I don't expect to explain it every time, but I mean, depending on the situation, if you just don't have a reason, you don't have a reason. You just.
Would you ever blindly trust your man's judgment?
Yeah.
So then why do you need him to explain it to you? He's just saying, I don't like that.
Well, I mean, we're talking about outfits. Not necessarily explain it, but like, okay, what do you want me to wear? It's kind of like, okay, well, then what do you want me to wear if you don't like what I'm wearing or what I do?
I don't know. Just put something else on.
So
you figure it out, but I don't want you wearing that. Is that a problem?
No.
So you just go figure something else out.
Figure something out.
Yeah. I'm not in your closet.
I wouldn't take it personal.
Okay. So you said you want him to be in control. Do you want him to control who your friends are? Hey, you need to stop talking to that person. I don't like them.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so it's not control of everything then.
I would like to know why.
I want you to quit that job. I don't want you talking to these friends. I want you to quit that job. Either get a different job or just don't work. I'll take care of us. I want you to start dressing like this. Or, hey, I'd like you to dress a little bit more conservative. Or, hey, I'd like you to spruce up your outfits a little bit more. Like, he's taking control. We're doing the gym this many times a week. You know, we're going over this diet plan. We're going to start grocery shopping. You're going to get these things on this grocery list. Every day we're going to commit to X amount of time for self-development, you know, whether it's a book that we're going to be reading or, you know, we're going to make sure that we're, you know, keeping the house clean. I expect you to do blah, blah, blah. Like, you want him in full control over everything. A man who's coming with that level of control is going to control all of these different areas. But ultimately, the question I would ask is, did you choose the right man to control, right? Because if you trust a man, then him being in control is only going to improve the outcome of your relationship, in my opinion. A lot of women are putting this fantasy of this like dictator Hitler version of a guy who's always in control. And that's just cap. That's just like a deflection tactic to get away from the fact is they don't have, or they have trust issues. That's really the problem. Or they don't know how to identify or vet men properly. That's the problem. They keep picking the wrong guys to give that control to. And then when it goes awry, they go, see, this is why I shouldn't let men be in control. It's like, no, that's why you shouldn't let those men be in control, right? So a lot of women, because I think what you're alluding to is natural for a woman to want to give up that control to her man, especially the man that she chose to be with, especially the man that she's like, I want to be with him. I want him to lead me. Okay, are you sure? Yeah. All right, boom. Starting tomorrow, we're doing X, Y, and Z. You're gonna start doing it, and then a lot of girls will be like, "Oh, that's too bad."
It's start like, Monday.
So you don't want a man who's in control then, because everything he's telling you, more than likely, he's already doing that. So if you're gonna get on his program, he's literally gonna hand you a program. This is the program. This is what it is. Now you could take it or leave it. You don't have to do that shit, but then we're just not going to be in a relationship. You know, we'll demote each other back to just hanging out or kicking it. But if you're talking about wanting to get serious with me, well, I'm going to come with a set of requirements. And if you don't want to meet those, then you don't want to be my woman. I'm not telling you I have to be in control of everything. I'm just saying, here's what I require from my woman. If you want to be my woman, here's my requirements. If you want to get this job, here is the job description and here's the qualifications. I'm not forcing you to apply. You saw the requirement, you saw the qualifications, and you decided to want to apply to that job. And then now all they're doing is repeating their job description to you, and you're saying you have a problem with it. Why are you in the interview then? Go apply somewhere else. You already know what the position is looking for, an analyst. Are you an analyst? No, I'm a teacher. Well, then go to apply to a school then. This is an analyst position. Go apply to be a teacher somewhere. Does that make sense?
It does.
I just think it's wishy-washy. Like, they say they want something until they get that, and then they find faults.
It's like when they read the fine print, like, oh, this is what it comes with.
But see, that scenario will require them to have to pay close attention to certain details they overlooked. I think that's a separate scenario than them having all of the fine print read to them, and then asking, do they want to sign off? And then they sign off, and then they have a problem after they signed off. It's like, I read the fine print to you. Here's the fine details. Do you still want to sign the contract? Oh yeah, I still want to sign the contract. But not have a problem with the fine details. It's like,
we'll talk about it later.
Why'd you sign the contract then? So,
because women always think they can change
the contract. They can change the terms of agreement.
Yep.
You're right. They
feel like they have some sort of control in that aspect. Like, okay, well, whatever, I can change.
Okay, to your point, this is what I believe. That I agree with you. I think women believe that they have a magic vagina, and that their vagina is going to cause a man not to be who he is. He is who he is before, during, and after you met him. But you think you have the magic vagina. He's had vagina before, but yours is magic. It's so much different than all the other girls. It don't matter what he do, my box is gonna overcome that, and it's gonna change him to be what I want him to be. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And do you think that that's true? Do you think that that's reality?
That can be temporary for the moment.
Box can be temporary. I mean, I agree. I think, like, there's a saying, show me a pretty girl, I'll show you a guy that's tired of fucking her. Like, eventually that's gonna wear off. You won't be able to just use and that's the whole point of Father Time, is that you have a prime set of years to be able to get the best quality guy you can get, and that's not infinite. That's a finite amount of time. So after that time is coming up and your options start to dwindle, don't get mad at Father Time. We all knew getting into this that he exists and he's undefeated. You know, if I go up against Shaq and Kobe in 03, I'm losing. They're getting the win. So, do you want to play them or not? You don't have to. But if you're going to go play them and get your ass beat, then don't get mad. That's part of the game. Part of the game is trying to get the best quality guy while you're the best quality woman. It's not the same for the both. But whatever the woman's peak is and the man's peak are two different peaks. Your job as a woman is to get the highest value man that you can get while you're in your peak. But most women don't do that because you've been sold a lie that you need to spend those years trying to find yourself, trying to discover who you are, aka sleep around, get flued out, go to Dubai and get peed on somewhere. Like, you need to go do all of that before you can come back. Yeah, but then you can be like, okay, I've done all the fuckery, I've messed with all the bad guys. Now that I'm old and beat up, I want a good quality guy now. Do the good quality guys want you? That's the question. It's like you said, women want to be in control. They're so used to having the position of leverage in the relationship that when they are dealing with a guy who the guy has the leverage, they don't know how to deal with that. So they'll sabotage it. They'll put chaos into the situation to try to reestablish control, because we know if it's down to emotions and chaos, you guys win that. You're gonna win. So it's trying to level the playing field subconsciously. A woman knows that she doesn't measure up to that man, or she knows that at some point that man's gonna realize that she doesn't measure up. She's trying to pull a bait and switch. She's faking the funk for long enough to reel that guy in, and hopefully he gets emotionally attached to her, emotionally and physically attached, so that she can finesse her way into a relationship. because she knows that if she tries to go on her merits alone, he's gonna smell that bullshit immediately, and he's not even gonna give her the time of day. Right? It's like trying to sell a lemon in the car dealership. You know that's a lemon, but if I can give it a nice paint job, if I can, roll back the miles on the odometer and trick them, and as soon as they drive off, that motherfucker breaking down. He gonna be like, wait a minute, how much did I say? I bought this for what? Like, nah, you guys, that was a bait and switch, bro. You sold me a lemon. A lot of women realize they're lemons, and they're still trying to make that sale. And it's like, he might buy you, you might get that sale, but when he take you home, you drive you off the lot, he gonna be like, this was not the Benz that I thought it was. This is a jalopy. This is a Pinto. And they're mad that dudes are finding out. I think a lot of the game is being told, and a lot of women's faults or shortcomings are being known now to most men. A lot of men are realizing the juice ain't really worth the squeeze a lot of times. And it sucks because it's like, imagine if you were a drug dealer. Your clientele are druggies, right? If you sell crack on the street, can you sell crack if everybody gets sober? No. So it's in your best interest to keep crackheads on the street. So you're not going to tell the same crackheads that you sell to, hey man, you need to stop doing this shit. This shit isn't good for you. Because that directly impacts you and your pockets. That's women with the game. The knowledge of women and their moves and their tactics now is being known. So the crackheads, let's call men crackheads, us crackheads are waking up and being like, hey, I gotta stop smoking crack. And now the supply chain is being broken up, and the sellers are getting mad at the crackheads for not buying crack no more. It's like, but I'm trying to improve the outcomes in my life. Why are you mad at me for that? Oh, it's because it directly impacts your outcomes in life. You've been able to sell to me because I was a fiend, right? You was able to get me hooked on your shit. Now I'm not hooked on it no more, and you're mad at me because I woke up and saw, oh shit, I'm fucking being drugged. I was a willing participant for a long time because I didn't realize how bad this was. Smoking crack is bad. Now I'm realizing, you know what? I need to stop smoking crack. But now my seller is getting mad at me because I'm stopping, cutting off contact. Gradually I'm buying less and less from them, or it's more time is going in between each time I buy from them. I used to buy them every week. I was there on the corner waiting. Now a month went by. I ain't bought none. I ain't re-upped with them. They're gonna get mad about that because they're realizing that their options are closing in on them, and they don't have as many options to pitch that shit to. Now people are waking up. So a woman is always gonna speak from a position of whatever's gonna benefit her first. That's gonna be the perspective that she's gonna speak from, and that's gonna be the way she's gonna try to steer the narrative, is so that she gets what she wants out of the deal. How do we know this? Well, let's look at the opposite of this. Men who, you ever saw a guy go up to a girl, be like, hey, beautiful, how you doing, girl? You know what I'm saying? What's your name? She'd be like, ugh, you ugly. I ain't interested, right? Be like, bitch, fuck you. That's why you was trash anyway. You'd be like, oh, you only changed your mind after you saw the reaction, right? You didn't get the outcome that was beneficial to you, so now you're just gonna shit on the whole thing. Oh, bitch, you was trash. This is why bitches ain't shit. Da, da, da. You'd be like, you only saying that because you didn't get the outcome you wanted. If you said, hey, beautiful, how you doing? She was like, oh, hey, handsome, I'm so-and-so. What's your name? You'd be like, oh, man, I love girls. Yeah, girls are awesome. But the second she'd be like, I ain't feeling you like that. Bitches ain't shit, nigga, fuck them, right? We know what that looks like when men do it, but we don't really talk about when women do that. oh, you a pick me. Oh, that girl just pandering to dudes and da-da-da. It's like, or maybe she's just finally waking up to the error of her ways, and she's turning a new leaf, and she's seeing that she's getting better outcomes because she shifted her mindset, and actually it is in alignment with what a lot of men are looking for, men of a higher quality. So now that she's getting better outcomes, and you're seeing her going through this process where she's evolving and she's growing and is passing you by, right? Now she's getting more attention. She's getting in the gym. She's getting in shape. She's being more feminine and friendly to people. And you see the guys that are coming through now. You're like, damn, how did she get that? Like, you want that secretly, but you don't want to do the work that it's going to take to get that outcome. So you're just going to shit on the people who get the outcome, because that's easier. It's easier to just hate on somebody who gets what you want out of life, as opposed to finding out how they got that and then replicating that for yourself. That takes too much effort. Let me just hate on bitches for rejecting me, as opposed to evaluating maybe my game ain't tight, or maybe I'm not paying attention to the nonverbal cues of what a woman is trying to communicate, or perhaps just, like I said, my game ain't tight. I'm coming at her weird or some shit. I'm making her uncomfortable. Like, how many girls need to tell me, get away from me, before I be like, maybe it's me. Maybe I stink. I don't know. Maybe I got bad breath. Maybe I'm coming up and I'm approaching her really aggressively, and because I'm a big guy, like, she's intimidated, and so she's not in a position to receive me in a flirtatious manner. Maybe I look too serious when I'm coming at her. Maybe I'm too goofy when I'm coming. This is all the thoughts that men have to think about as they fail, right? Women don't have to think about that, because as soon as a guy that you like turns you down, how do you get over him? You just move the fuck on and slide in your DMs and be like, shit, let me just take some. Like, that's why they say men take it far worse in a breakup than women. Because a man is like, yo, I put my feelings and emotions into this girl. Like, I love women. I fucked a lot of girls before, but like, I'm with this girl now, and I really like being with her. I love her. And then she just dropped me, and then now she's with a new dude the next day. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I need a couple days, you know what I mean? Like, that shit's gonna hurt me. But women can just move on like it ain't nothing, because they've already got those dudes waiting on deck. So when they get with a guy who has girls waiting on deck, they don't like that, because now they're not in the position to dictate how this is gonna go. I don't know. What do you think? Final thoughts. Final thoughts. We talked about communication. We talked about wifely duties for people who ain't your husband yet. We talked about women, father time, the dating game.
That's about a lot. Yeah. You have any final thoughts to wrap it up? I mean, I think thinking back on me answering about wanting a man that is in total control. I think breaking it down, the way you broke it down, it's like, I mean, it still doesn't change my view on it, my opinion, my choice. But I think that it's like many women out there are saying, I want a man that is in control, a man that is dictating what's going to happen next. But it's like, when you break it down the way you broke it down, I think that's like, I can see how many women coming into the situation or in the relationship or in the conversation period, they just can pull away.
It can become problematic when you break down the nuances or the logistics of what actually having full control means, what that involves. So once you start listing out the actual details, a woman's like, oh shit, what did I sign up for when I said that? Like, I might have to reframe my position now, because I don't necessarily want a guy to have that level of control. So that even in and of itself is controlling. Because think about it. You're saying you want a guy to be in control,
but you want to control,
but only when you want him to be in control. So you want to control when he's in control, which is oxymoronic. You can't. It's like, I want to be with a man who's a leader so that I can allow him to lead. It's like, you don't allow him to do anything. That's who he is.
That's what a leader is.
You can't even control how he's going to display his leadership. He's going to come in and he's going to start leading the way he leads, not the way you want him to lead. Because if he does it the way you want him to do it, is he really leading?
No.
I want you to tell me to do this. I want you to tell me to do that. Tell me how to do it like this, because then that's how I'm going to do it. Who's the one wearing the pants then? That's like a kid telling their parents how they want the parents to parent them. No, you're my child. I parent you the way that I parent you because I have a better judgment of how to do this than you do. You're 3. Why would I listen to you on how to be a parent? I'm the parent and you're not a parent, and you're literally the child that I made. Why would I? You have no idea what it's like to be a parent. So a lot of women are like, I want a man to be a leader. You have no idea what it's like to be a leader. Why would you think you could tell another man who's been a leader how to be a leader, or decide when he's to be a leader with you or not? You don't want a leader then. You want somebody who you can control. So who really wants to control? You want a man to be in control, or do you want to control how the man controls you? That's not a man you want to be with then. Don't sound like it. And that's why I say, you give a girl what she wants, she's going to find a fault with that. Oh, I like a guy to be funny. Here's a professional comedian. Why is he always telling jokes? What? You just said you wanted him to be funny. Now you want to decide when he's funny and when he's not funny? That's not people who are funny. That's not how they operate. They're just who they are. I want to dictate when the dog barks. I want a dog. I don't want him to bark when I don't want him to bark. But when somebody's trying to rob us, I want him to bark. It's like, that's not how dogs work. They bark when they bark. You can train them to bark also when somebody's breaking in or whatever. But even when there's nothing going on, he's going to be barking.
Dog.
He's a dog. So you either want a dog and you want everything that comes with the dog, or you don't want a dog. Right?
Wondering, I mean, this is probably going a little off topic, but bringing the whole dog situation, it's like, it makes sense how sometimes women seek to get a dog because it's something they can, quote unquote, control more than a man. It's like they're, I mean, I don't want to say, yeah, they use it as their therapy dog. But are they using it as like, for what purpose? Like to fill in
some void or something.
Yeah,
I mean, I think, and we know this, right? A lot of single women have dogs now. That's on the rise. That's been on the rise for years. You go to any dog park, you go anywhere outside right now, there's some chick by herself walking her dog, and it's to fill a void. It's to fill a void of the affection and love and attention. Somebody who's there on their beckoning call, that control aspect of it. And this is a person that's not going to push back and challenge their ideas. They just are there to please them and take control and direction from them. So yeah, that's why a lot of women do get dogs, because they know that also there's an affection and there's a motherly quality of deciding what they're going to eat, when they have to walk, when they have to go use the bathroom, deciding how they behave, training them to do what they need to do to operate within your house the way you want things to be ran, right? If this dog is too rowdy, you try to get them trained to be more domesticated, or you have them in the backyard, or, you know, if it depends on what you want, but you can go and literally pick exactly what type of dog you want. Like, hey, how's that dog's behavior? Oh, he's real chill. Like, all right, cool. I want that type of dog. Or I want a dog that's really playful. Oh, okay, we have this puppy over here. Cool, let me get him. Like, you can pick and choose and peacemake together the idea of potentially a man or a family who you don't have, and fill that void with animals. So yeah, I think that does happen a lot of times because women just don't know how to get along with a man. A lot of them don't know what the fuck to do with a guy besides sex. Most of them, the only way they know how to interact with a dude is to open their legs. But then they accuse us of just wanting sex from them, and it's like, you don't really have anything else. Like, you just open your legs and ask for shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna wear every guy down at some point. So control, yes, we do know that women do seek control, and they try to get it in other outlets, most often with dogs and cats.
And it's not always it's usually a small dog too.
It's usually a small dog. I would say there's probably more small dogs than big dogs for girls.
Because they can control them better because they're...
Yeah. They can put them in their purse and wear them as an accessory and dress them up in little cute shit. Like, oh, that's the baby you're supposed to be having with your husband. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But they don't have the man, so they fill it with the puppy. And we see how those women turn out when they're 50, 60 years old, right? House smells like piss all the time. It's like they're awkward and shit. They don't know how to talk to men, like, you know. So instead of what women need to do is to do the work needed to improve their outcomes, they just find ways to fill that void and hope that it goes away, when in fact it don't. Because men know this. It's like, oh, if I want X, Y, and Z out of life, and I'm 20 and I don't have it, I'm 25, I don't have it, I'm 30, I don't have it, I'm 35, I don't. At some point I've got to go, okay, maybe I need to switch up my behavior to get an outcome that I want that's favorable for me. Cool. All right, I guess we'll put a pin in that one. That was a good conversation. We touched a whole bunch of shit. But with that said, it's your boy J Thought signing off. Again, as always, hit that like, that share, that subscribe. Got our special guest, Miss Christina, in the building. Thank you for, having that conversation. And as always, it's yours truly signing off.